Welcome back to the deep dive. I want you to picture something for a second.
Okay.
Picture your high school reunion. You know the drill name tags, lukewarm punch, eyeing the people you used to know to see who got rich, who got old, and who never really left town.
That slightly awkward feeling.
Exactly. Now take that awkwardness, that heavy nostalgia, put it on a starship moving at warp speed, and throw in a political assassination plot.
And a dash of unresolved trauma. Don't forget the drama.
Never forget the drama. Today, we are cracking open a narrative that is essentially the ultimate the gang gets back together episode, but, darker, grittier, and with way higher stakes.
It really is.
We are looking at sources centering on the story reunion.
This is a big one for Starfleet history buffs. We are talking about the living legends, the surviving senior officers of the USS Stargazer.
Right. Captain Picard's first command, the ship he spent 20 years on. I mean, that's a lifetime.
A huge part of his career.
And now they are all coming back together on the Enterprise. But this isn't a social call. They aren't just catching up over Synthale and 10 Forward.
No, far from it. This is a mission with a capital M. The catalyst here is Captain Morgen. He's a Daa'V officer, a former crewmate of Picard's, who is leaving Starfleet.
To become the hereditary ruler of his people.
Exactly. And he has requested his old shipmates to serve as his honor guard.
Oh, which sounds lovely on paper. Come, watch me become king. But the vibe I'm getting from the source material isn't celebration, it's dread.
It is dread. Because there is a twist. Morgan's ascension isn't universally loved. There is an assassin on board the Enterprise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Someone is trying to kill him before he can take the throne, and the working theory. The killer might be one of the old friends in the reunion.
So we have a locked room mystery, except the room is a Galaxy-class starship.
And the suspects are people Captain Picard trusts with his life. Or who he thought he could trust with his life.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack today. We aren't just looking at the plot points. We want to get into the psychology of this Stargazer crew versus the Enterprise crew.
Right, the culture clash there.
We need to talk about the technical nightmare of the sabotage that happens, and we have to talk about the ghost in the room.
Jack Crusher.
Jack Crusher, the one member of the old gang who can't be there because he died under Picard's command. His shadow is over everything in this deep dive.
It really hangs over the entire narrative.
So let's start right there. The source material doesn't open with a briefing or a star chart. It opens with a nightmare. Picard is asleep, and he's back in a shuttlecraft.
This sequence is so important for understanding Picard's headspace. It tells you everything. He's dreaming about the aftermath of the Battle of Mexia Zeta.
That was the battle where the Stargazer was lost.
Right. And in reality, it was a horror show. They were drifting in shuttles for weeks, cramped, rationing supplies, mourning the dead. It was awful. But in the dream, it's almost pleasant.
Yeah, he describes it as cozy, which is such a strange word to use.
It is. It shows his mind is trying to rewrite this incredibly traumatic event.
Wow.
He looks around the shuttle and sees his old crew. He sees Ben Zoma, his first officer. He sees his helmsman. Everyone is laughing. They're relaxed.
You're okay.
They're okay. And then he sees Jack. Jack Crusher is sitting there, alive and well.
Just part of the group?
Completely. He's joking about the legroom. He's talking about getting home to see Beverly and his son Wesley. He even teases Picard, asking if he ever thinks about settling down and having a family.
And Picard gives that line that just perfectly encapsulates his character at this point in his life. He says, "I'd rather be boiled in oil than dangle a baby on my knee."
It's classic defensive Picard. He uses wit to keep intimacy at bay. He's built these walls around himself.
But then the dream turns. The logic centers of his brain kick in.
Right, the reality starts to bleed through. He looks at Jack and realizes the math doesn't work. He says, "Jack, you're not supposed to be here. You're dead. You died a long time ago."
And Jack's reaction is what's so chilling. He doesn't scream. He doesn't turn into a zombie or some kind of monster.
No, nothing like that. He just shrugs.
So casual.
Right. He says casually, "I can go if you like." And he just walks away into the crowd. Picard wakes up in a cold sweat.
Why does that specific interaction matter so much? What's the takeaway there?
Because it establishes that Picard hasn't processed the grief. He has profound survivor's guilt. He was the captain. He lived. Jack was his friend, his best friend, and Jack died.
And he feels responsible.
Deeply. Even 20 years later, that guilt is the lens through which he sees this reunion. He feels he owes these people something. He feels he failed them once, and he is terrified of failing them again. This isn't just a mission for him. It's a chance at redemption.
So let's meet the people he feels he owes, the Stargazer 7 or whatever we want to call them. The source material gives us these really rich profiles. Let's start with the VIP, Captain Morgen.
Right, the man of the hour. If you aren't familiar with the Daa'V, picture a velociraptor that went to finishing school.
That's a great description.
They are reptilian, green skin, yellow slit eyes. Very intimidating physically. But Morgen, he is the most charming guy in the room. He's got this incredible wit.
He's got that caustic wit.
He does. And he is a reluctant king. That's the key to his character. He loves Starfleet. He loves the meritocracy, the idea that you are judged by your skill, not your bloodline.
Which is the opposite of a hereditary monarchy.
The complete opposite. He is only going back to rule because his father died, and if he doesn't take the throne, his world dissolves into civil war. It's a huge burden.
So he is sacrificing his happiness for duty.
Precisely. Which makes the fact that someone wants to kill him even more tragic.
Yeah.
He doesn't even want the power he's inheriting. He's doing the right thing, and someone is trying to murder him for it.
Next up, we have Captain Gilad Benzoma.
The life of the party. If Picard is the brain of the Stargazer, Benzoma is the heart. He's charismatic, he's a storyteller, he's just got this energy about him.
He's the guy who arrives on the Enterprise bridge unannounced just to catch Picard off guard.
Exactly. He loves to push boundaries to keep things interesting. He represents the glory days. When you look at him, you see the adventure, not the trauma. He's the embodiment of the good old days.
But then you have Figgis-Simonon. And I have to say, this guy is my favorite. He sounds like a nightmare to work with, but amazing to read about.
Simonon is fantastic.
Yeah.
He's an Elish. So you have to picture a 6-foot-tall snake with arms and a very bad attitude.
Okay, got it.
He's an engineering genius, truly one of the best, but he is cynical, grumpy, and just plain rude. He loves to argue.
There's that scene where they find him at the starbase before he boards the Enterprise.
Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah.
He's found swimming in Vice Admiral Kuznetsov's private pool, just floating there. The Admiral is furious, and Simonon is just making snarky comments about the water temperature. He doesn't care about rank or propriety at all.
And he's teaching now.
At the Academy, yes. And he jokes that he's not dead yet, contrary to the fervent hopes of my students.
He's the Dr. House of the group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the guy who says what everyone is thinking, but is too polite to say. But his technical skills are unmatched, which becomes absolutely crucial later when the ship starts falling apart.
Now let's shift gears to someone a little more tragic. Pug Joseph.
Yeah, this one hurts. Pug was the security chief on the Stargazer, a key position. 20 years later, he's still a security chief.
He never moved up.
He's stuck. Total stagnation. While Morgen and Benzoma became captains, while Cadwallader became a commander, Pug stayed in place.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, the sources mention he has a drinking problem. He's bitter. He looks at his old friends, and he doesn't feel nostalgia. He feels inferiority. He feels like he was left behind.
He has that line later, "I'm as good as they are."
Which is the anthem of the resentful man. It's heartbreaking, really.
Yeah.
He's dangerous not because he's an evil mastermind, but because he's volatile. He feels the universe owes him something, and that's a dangerous mindset.
Then there's Idun Asmund. She's the mystery box.
Definitely. Idun is a human woman, but she was raised by Klingons. So she has that stoic warrior demeanor. She's physically imposing, very reserved.
And her baggage is heavy.
Extremely. She had a twin sister named Gerda. And Gerda tried to kill Morgen 20 years ago.
Wait, her twin sister tried to assassinate the guy Idun is now protecting?
Correct. So you can imagine the tension there.
That is complicated.
More than complicated.
Okay.
Because they are identical twins, and because of the Klingon concept of Einir, the blood bond, Idun feels she shares her sister's guilt. She thinks people look at her and see an assassin. So she isolates herself. She's the dark horse suspect from minute one.
And rounding out the crew, we have Trisha Cadwallader and Carter Greyhorse.
Right. Cadwallader's the kid. She was just 19 on the Stargazer, a communications officer. Now she's a confident, competent, bubbly commander. She represents the innocence of the past, someone who seems to have processed it all and come out stronger.
And she's a romantic interest for Riker.
We'll get to that. And then there's Carter Greyhorse, the doctor. He's a massive man, intellectually brilliant, but emotionally frozen. He prefers machines to people. He's the opposite of Dr. Crusher in almost every way. He's all logic, no bedside manner.
So the legends are on board, the band is back together, but the Enterprise crew, they have some mixed feelings about this invasion.
To say the least.
Yeah.
It's not a smooth transition. You have Riker on one hand, who is acting like a total fanboy.
Really? Riker?
Oh, yeah. He's reading their biographies, he's studying their service records, he's fascinated by their history. He sees them as these larger-than-life heroes. He's genuinely excited to have them aboard.
And Worf sees them as villains.
Specifically Morgan. This is where we have to talk about history.
Yeah.
The Klingons and the Daa'V were enemies for 300 years. This isn't just a political disagreement. It's a blood feud.
And Worf doesn't mince words.
No. He uses very graphic language here. He says, "We have licked each other's blood from our fingers."
That is visceral.
It is. Worf views guarding a Daa'V as a dishonor. He sees Morgan as a barbarian, an enemy. It's pure prejudice rooted in centuries of war, and it's a huge source of conflict for him.
And then there's Beverly Crusher. She's hiding.
She is. She's actively avoiding 10 forward. She's burying herself in sickbay work. She doesn't want to see them.
Why?
Because every time she looks at these people, at this group, she is reminded that Jack isn't with them. She tells Wesley that she has come to terms with her grief, and she doesn't want to reopen that wound. Seeing them all together is like seeing a picture with one person cut out.
But Wesley isn't having it. He's on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Completely. Wesley is desperate. He never really knew his father. He has these vague memories, but that's it. He sees these people as a living library of Jack Crusher stories. He wants to know everything. What he was like, what jokes he told, everything.
So you have this conflict, the son running toward the past and the mother running away from it.
It's a really powerful dynamic. The entire Crusher family is on edge because of this reunion.
Okay, so the stage is set. The players are in place. The tensions are simmering. Now they have to eat dinner.
The dinner party from hell. Or maybe from hell and heaven, depending on your perspective.
It takes place in 10 forward. And it seems like it starts okay, but there's this undercurrent of you can just feel it, and it all explodes over the menu.
It does. Worf is there, effectively doing security, but also, trying to assert dominance.
Posturing.
Exactly. He's eating blood pie, a traditional Klingon dish.
Right.
Which you can imagine is not exactly appetizing to everyone.
Right.
So he decides to test Simenon, the lizard-like Nullish, by offering him a bite. It's a bullying tactic. It's a power play.
And Simenon, the grumpy engineer, he shuts him down.
Beautifully. He looks at the rotting food and says, with this perfect deadpan delivery, "I like my food to lie still on my plate, to at least pretend it's not alive."
It's amazing.
It just completely deflates Worf's aggression with pure snark. It's a perfect character moment.
But then Asmund steps in.
Idun Asmund, the Klingon-raised human. She leans over and says she prefers stewed gas serpent worms. And it's a subtle power move. She is telling Worf, "I know your culture. I am not afraid of you. Your scary food is my comfort food."
She one-ups him.
She completely one-ups him. But the real record-scratch moment comes when they start talking about the old days. Someone mentions a deceased officer named Vigo.
Right.
They're reminiscing about sports, saying Vigo was the best wrestler on the Stargazer. And Asmund, very quietly, so everyone has to lean in to hear, says, "Gerda beat him."
Oh.
The room goes silent. She just name-dropped her sister, the would-be assassin, the traitor. It sucks all the air right out of the room.
It's a reminder.
It's a deliberate reminder that this happy reunion is built on a foundation of betrayal and violence. It establishes the suspicion immediately and puts a spotlight right on her.
But it's not all bad blood. There is this fascinating subplot where Worf and Morgan actually bond, and I really didn't see this coming, given the licking blood from fingers comment.
It's one of the best parts of the narrative because it's so unexpected. Morgan, the diplomat, goes to Worf's quarters. He doesn't avoid the issue. He confronts the elephant in the room.
He goes right to him.
Right to him. He says, essentially, "I know you hate my people. I know our history. But we are both warriors. Let's find common ground there."
He finds the common language.
Well, exactly. He proposes they stop glaring at each other and start sweating together.
Yeah.
He invites Worf to a calisthenics program on the holodeck. Combat training.
And Worf accepts.
He does. Because in Klingon culture, shared combat is a form of respect. Morgan is speaking his language, so it subverts the trope. Instead of the alien and the Klingon killing each other, they decide to kill holograms together. It's a bridge across 300 years of hatred.
Speaking of bridges, Riker is building one with Trisha Cadwallader.
Oh, Riker is charmed from the moment he sees her.
Yeah.
He walks into the gym and sees Cadwallader doing this intense gymnastics routine, bars, flips, the works. He's impressed by her discipline, her strength.
And she's not just a jock.
No, she's funny. She's witty. She's not intimidated by the Commander Riker persona. She teases him right back. There's immediate chemistry.
They make a date.
They do. But, and here is where the mission interferes. Once the sabotage starts and the investigation kicks into high gear, Riker has to cancel.
Why? Just because he's busy?
No, it's more complicated than that. It's because she becomes a suspect. Everyone from the Stargazer is a suspect.
Ah, of course.
Riker realizes he can't be pursuing a romance with someone he might have to throw in the brig for treason. He describes the feeling of canceling on her as like something one would scrape from the bottom of one's boots.
He feels terrible.
He feels like a jerk, but he
Yeah.
puts the ship first. It's a small moment, but it shows the isolation of command. Duty has to come before personal feelings,
Yeah.
even when it feels awful.
Let's also touch on the Crusher dynamic before we get into the sabotage. Beverly's avoidance.
Right. She's not just hiding, she's actively trying to process things on her own terms. The sources describe her listening to an old audio letter from Jack. Yeah. And in it, he's talking about his life on the Stargazer. He talks about Pug Joseph, and he talks about how much he loves Wesley and can't wait to get home. It humanizes the legend,
Oh.
and it really explains Beverly's pain. She's not avoiding her friends, she's avoiding that specific, sharp grief.
Meanwhile, Wesley is trying to connect. He goes to Simonin.
He does. He tries to ask Simonin about his dad,
Hmm.
and Simonin, being Simonin, is dismissive at first. He's gruff, but then he softens a little. He represents the hard truth of the past. He basically tells Wesley that Jack wasn't a god, he was a crewmate, he was a man. It's not the heroic story Wesley wants, but it's something real.
Okay, so let's get to the sabotage. Because this isn't just someone cutting a wire. This is high-tech, lethal stuff. It starts in that holodeck session with Worf and Morgen.
Right. They are in a simulation called Calisthenics Level 2. They are fighting these holographic monster warriors in a ruined temple setting. It's supposed to be a workout, a controlled environment.
And then the glitch happens.
It's subtle at first. Worf kills an opponent, but the body doesn't vanish. It just lies there. Then more enemies spawn. The computer voice announces it is upgrading to level 3, then level 4. It's escalating without their command,
Worf calls for the program to freeze.
and the computer ignores him. Then the safeties disengage.
And that means?
That means the holograms are no longer projections, they have substance. Those holographic swords are suddenly solid matter. They can cut, they can kill.
So they're trapped.
They're trapped. Worf gets stabbed in the leg. It's a real wound. Morgan is slashing through enemies, but he's bleeding. They're trapped in a room with an infinite army of solid killers that just keeps coming. It's a meat grinder.
This is a terrifying way to die. How do they get out?
Riker has to physically cut the power to the entire deck from the outside. It's a brute force solution. Chief O'Brien has to blow the doors with explosives. When they finally get them out, the holodeck is a slaughterhouse of digital bodies, and Worf and Morgan are seriously injured.
And Geordi finds the smoking gun.
He does. He finds a physical device behind a wall panel. This wasn't a software bug. Someone built a jammer out of common ship components and planted it there to override the safeties.
Which confirms it's an inside job.
It has to be. It has to be someone who knows Starfleet tech, had access to the holodeck, and knew Morgan would be there. It's a meticulously planned attack.
So who are we looking at? The suspect list just got very real.
It did. The command staff has this briefing, and they run down the list. Simonin is an engineer. He could build that device in his sleep.
Right.
Pug Joseph has security clearance. He knows how to bypass panels and where to hide something like that. Asmund, well, she's the sister of an assassin. Maybe it runs in the family?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it conspiracy? Maybe it's Daa'V politics from back home. They don't know.
And before they can even process that, the ship itself goes crazy. We move to Incident 2, the slipstream. This is where the physics gets wild.
This is the hold on to your butts moment. The Enterprise is cruising along, and suddenly, without the engines engaging, the ship accelerates.
Accelerates to what?
Warp 995.
Okay, for the non-engineers listening, how fast is that?
The ship is screaming fast.
Yeah.
It is way beyond safe operating limits.
Mm-hmm.
The Enterprise-D is rated for warp 9.6 for very short emergency intervals. Warp 9.95 is structural failure territory. The ship is vibrating. The hull is moaning. It feels like it's about to be torn apart.
And they can't stop. They can't just turn the engines off.
The engines are off. That's the problem. They are caught in a subspace slipstream. Think of it like a riptide in the ocean, but in space. A river of high-velocity subspace energy is dragging the ship off course. They're not flying. They're being pulled.
And if they don't get out, what's the consequence?
They miss the rendezvous. Morgan misses his coronation. And the sources are clear. If he's not there, civil war breaks out on his homeworld.
So it's a perfect non-violent way to assassinate a king.
Exactly. Just make sure he's late to his own coronation. It's clever. It's insidious.
So we have the dream team of engineers on this: Geordi, Data, Wesley, and Simonin.
And Simonin is crucial here. He's back in his element. He and Wesley are running the math. They try reversing the engines. putting the ship in reverse at warp 4.
Tugging against the current.
Right, but it barely slows them down, and it threatens to tear the deflector dish right off the front of the ship. The stress is too much. It's not working.
So Data comes up with a theory that sounds... honestly, it sounds suicidal.
It pretty much is. Data analyzes the flow of the slipstream. He theorizes it has a frontal horizon. Imagine the slipstream is a tunnel of rushing water. If they can go faster than the water, they might be able to punch through the front wall of it and out into calm space.
So instead of fighting the current, they swim faster than it.
Right. But to do that, they have to hit warp 9.96.
Which is impossible. The ship can't do that.
It's theoretical. They've never tried it. Geordi warns Picard it could destroy the ship. But they're out of options, so they push the engines.
And what happens?
The description in the source is intense. The view screen goes white. The noise is deafening. Panels are exploding on the bridge. They're turning the Enterprise into a bullet and hoping the gun doesn't explode. It's a desperate last-ditch gamble.
And
Failure. Complete failure. The power grid overloads. The warp core scrams. The lights go out. The ship is dead in the water.
or dead in the stream, I guess.
Dead in the stream. They are still moving at incredible speed, but they have no power, no sensors, and no lights. They're trapped.
And that darkness sets the stage for the next attack. Segment 4, the escalation.
We are on deck 17 in a forward lounge. It is pitch black. Captain Morgen, Dr. Crusher, and Trisha Cadwallader are huddled together, waiting for the lights to come back on.
This is a classic horror movie setup. You know something bad is about to happen.
It is. And then a phaser beam flares in the dark. A single bright red line.
This isn't a stun setting, is it?
No. The analysis later shows it was set to level 6. Level 6 is an ouch. Level 6 is vaporized alloy. It's a kill shot. Plain and simple.
Who gets hit?
The shooter is aiming for Morgan. But in the chaos, people are moving, stumbling. Trisha Cadwallader takes the hit. The beam burns right through her shoulder. It's a catastrophic injury. If she hadn't moved at that exact second, it would have taken her head off.
Oh my God! So she survived.
Barely. Crusher has to perform emergency triage right there in the dark. Worf arrives and finds the weapon. He finds it in a trash recycler nearby. It's a standard Starfleet Type 2 phaser.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. It was stolen from the Enterprise security office just minutes before the attack.
How?
The guard on duty was found drugged, unconscious.
So the killer is bold. They walked into security, drugged a guard, stole a weapon, navigated a dark ship, and took a shot.
This tells us the killer is a professional. This isn't a crime of passion. This is a tactical strike. This person knows Starfleet protocols inside and out.
Let's analyze the fallout, because the psychological breakdown of the suspects here is fascinating. Let's start with Carter Greyhorse, the robotic doctor.
This is his breaking point. Greyhorse hears Cadwallader is hurt, and he storms into sickbay. He is yelling. He is frantic. He completely drops the emotionless intellectual mask. It shatters.
Why? Is he in love with her or something?
It's revealed that years ago on the Stargazer, Cadwallader saved his life during a hull breach. He feels a debt to her. But his reaction is so over the top, so violent, you have to ask, is this just concern, or is this guilt? Did he try to shoot Morgan and hit his friend by mistake?
A very real possibility. Then there's Simonon.
Simonon actually has a solid alibi. When the lights went out, he was in main engineering with Geordi, trying to fix the warp core, so he physically couldn't have been on deck 17 pulling the trigger.
So he's cleared off the list.
Of the shooting, yes.
Yeah.
But remember the holodeck sabotage? That was a timer. He could have set that up days ago. He could be part of a conspiracy. So he's not off the hook entirely.
And Pug Joseph, the drunk, bitter security chief.
Pug is spiraling. Guinan, the bartender and unofficial therapist of the ship, tries to talk to him in 10 forward, and he just explodes. He starts screaming about how he's as good as they are.
It's pure self-loathing.
It is. He's drunk, he's angry, and he's unstable. But does that make him a cold-blooded assassin? Usually drunks are sloppy. These crimes, they've been precise. It doesn't quite fit his profile.
And finally, Idun Asmund, the prime suspect from the start. Troy pays her a visit.
And we finally get the truth about her isolation. Asmund confesses. But not to the murder. No. She says she isn't the killer. She's punishing herself. She believes that because her sister was the traitor, she carries that potential for treachery in her DNA. It's a Klingon idea of inherited guilt.
So she's isolating herself to protect Morgan.
In a way. She's staying away from him, not because she wants to hurt him, but because she's terrified she might fail to protect him, or worse, that some part of her sister is in her. It's Klingon guilt. It's tragic, but it clarifies her behavior. She's not plotting, she's grieving.
This all culminates in a crisis for Picard. He is the captain, these are his people, his friends, and he has no idea who is doing this.
He hits a wall, he retreats to his ready room, and he does something that is, frankly, a little worrying. He starts talking to Jack Crusher again.
The hallucination, or is it more of an internal monologue?
It feels like his internal monologue manifesting. He's trying to work through the problem. And he has this realization. He realizes that he was the brain of the Stargazer, but Jack was the soul.
What does that mean?
Jack knew the crew. He knew who was sleeping with whom, who was depressed, who was ambitious. Picard didn't. He kept his distance. He was the commander. Now he realizes that distance has left him blind. He thinks, Jack would know who the traitor is. I don't.
He feels like he failed them then, and he's failing them now.
Exactly. And it gets so bad he even lies to Benzoma, his best friend.
He lies to him.
Yeah. Benzoma comes in and asks about Cadwallader. And Picard lies. He says it was a systems malfunction, an accident. He's trying to keep the investigation secret.
And Benzoma sees right through it.
Immediately, he looks him in the eye and says, "You are lying through your teeth." He knows him too well. And Picard just crumbles. He realizes he can't do this alone. He breaks protocol and brings Benzoma into this circle of trust, even though Benzoma himself is technically a suspect.
He has to trust someone.
He has to, or the paranoia will destroy the command structure entirely.
So we are nearing the end of our hour, and we have a ship trapped in a slipstream, a crew member in critical condition, and a killer on the loose. Let's just recap the suspect board.
Okay. Motive. Stop Morgen from becoming ruler of the Daa'V, which would cause a civil war.
Means advanced sabotage of ship systems and tactical weapons training. This is not an amateur.
No. Suspects remaining.
Gray Horse, the emotional doctor, unstable, strong enough to overpower a guard, and maybe feeling guilty.
Right. Pug Joseph Bitter has the security knowledge, but maybe too erratic for this kind of precise work.
Simonon, the technical genius, but he has an alibi for the shooting, still could be part of a conspiracy.
And Benzoma? He seems like the loyal friend, but he's charming. Is he too charming? Could it all be a mask?
This deep dive really highlights that Reunion isn't just a murder mystery. It's a study in how time and trauma changes people.
Absolutely. The Stargazer crew represents the different paths trauma takes. You can rise above it like Morgan, you can get stuck in it like Pug, you can hide from it and punish yourself for it like Asmund, or you can detach from it completely like Grey Horse.
And Picard, what's his path?
Picard is the one who has to carry it. He has to carry all their trauma and his own. He has to look at his friends, his legends, and wonder which one is a monster.
That's the thought I want to leave you with. Who do you trust when your oldest friends become your newest suspects? And when the ghost of the past is the only one who might know the truth?
It's a chilling thought. The Enterprise is flying blind, racing into the unknown, and the killer is still on board.
We'll leave it there. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Check your sources, trust no one, and we'll see you next time.